All right, let's talk about test day. You know, it can be super stressful, right? But what if you could just walk in there feeling totally confident, like you know exactly what's going to happen? Well, that's what we're going to do. In this explainer, we're going to break down every single step of your CELPIP test day, from the moment you show up to the second you walk out. So, are you ready? Let's dive right in. I want you to think of this as your personal game plan, your roadmap for a really smooth, successful test day. We're going to take all that anxiety and just poof, turn it into confidence by getting rid of all the mystery. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. First up, we'll talk about what you need to do before you even leave the house. Then, we'll walk through the check-in process, how to get your test started, what to do during the test itself, and finally, how to wrap things up when you're all done. Let's kick things off with part 1, before you arrive. This is all about the prep work, and honestly, getting this part right really sets the tone for your entire day. So before you even think about leaving your house, there are 3 things you've got to lock down. First, double-check that test center address. Then, confirm your exact scheduled test time. And finally, plan out how you're getting there. You know, all this crucial info, it's sitting right there in your test confirmation email, so pull that up. All right, here is the first really important number you need to remember. 45. You have to be there 45 minutes before your test is scheduled to start. And seriously, this isn't just a friendly suggestion, it's a hard rule. It's all about making sure you have plenty of time to get checked in without rushing. And here's the other number, and this one's a deadline. 15 minutes. Check-in closes exactly 15 minutes before the test begins. If you're any later than that, you won't be allowed in, and you won't get a refund or a transfer. So again, the goal is to be early. Okay, let's get practical. What should you bring and what should you absolutely leave at home? The bring list is actually super simple. All you need is your valid, unexpired ID, and it has to be the exact same one you used to register, and your test confirmation email. You can have it on your phone or print it out. Now, the leave behind list, that one's a bit longer. Basically, think of it this way. No electronics, no food or drinks, no notes, no watches, no big bulky jewelry or heavy coats. The best advice? Just travel light. And here's a little pro tip for you, and trust me, this one is a game changer. Use the washroom before you start the check-in process. Why? Because as soon as that test timer starts, it does not stop for anything. Okay, so you've made it, you're nice and early. Let's move on to part 2, the check-in process. You can think of this as the official gateway into the testing room. So the check-in process itself is super structured. It's the same for everyone. First, you're going to store your personal belongings. And listen, your phone needs to be completely off. Not on silent, not on vibrate, off. After that, there's a quick security scan. They'll scan your ID, you'll provide a signature, and then they'll take your picture. Bam, 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 just like that. All right, check-in is done. You're through. Welcome to part 3, starting your test. This is where you'll get settled in at your own computer workstation. Getting set up on the computer is really straightforward. A staff member will give you some special notepaper and a pen. See that pin on the paper? You'll enter that on the screen. Then you'll just follow the prompts to do a quick microphone check. After that, you'll read a disclaimer, and then you just sit tight until a staff member announces the final start code for the whole room. Okay, let's zoom in on that microphone check for a second because this is so important for your speaking score. You can actually adjust the volume on your headset with the little controls on the cord. If for some reason you can't hear your own voice during the test, don't freak out, just raise your hand. But here's the critical part, you guys. Whatever you do, do not touch the mute button on the headset. Don't even look at it. If that thing is on, your speaking responses won't get recorded at all. And just like that, you're in. We're at part 4, navigating the test session. This is the main event, and there are just a few key rules to keep in mind while you're working through the test. If you remember one thing from this whole section, let it be this. The test is timed, and that timer will not stop once it has started. I mean it. It doesn't pause for bathroom breaks. It doesn't pause if you need a moment. Once it's going, it's going. So your time management, that's all on you. Let's do a quick run-through of the main do's and don'ts for inside the test room. So do stay in your seat and raise your hand if you need help. And do speak softly during the speaking tasks. Now for the don'ts. Don't talk to other test takers, don't look at anybody else's computer or notes, and remember the staff can't help you with any questions about the actual test content. So what can you get help with? Well, it's pretty simple. Just raise your hand quietly, and you can ask for more notepaper. Just make sure you've used both sides of your current sheets first. You can also ask for earplugs if you're getting distracted, or you can ask for an escorted trip to the washroom. Now, when it's time for the speaking tasks, the key is to speak softly but clearly. You don't need to yell. And here's a great little trick to give you peace of mind. Just look at the screen. As long as you see that little microphone level bouncing up and down while you're talking, you can be totally confident that your voice is being recorded perfectly.
And you've done it. You've made it to the end. So let's talk about part 5, finishing and final steps. The finish line is right there, but there is a proper way to cross it.
So, once you've answered that last question, don't just stand up and walk out. The procedure is easy. Just raise your hand and wait for a staff member to come over to you. They'll collect your notepaper and pen, and then they will escort you out of the testing room where you can finally go collect your personal belongings. Okay, but what happens if something goes wrong? A technical glitch or a major disruption that you feel could mess up your score. There is a very strict process for this, so listen up. You have to tell a staff member right then and there before you leave the test center. They'll give you a contact card. Then you have 48 hours to follow up with an email explaining the issue. And the absolute deadline for this is before your scores come out. You have to do it before then. And that's the whole shebang. You now have the complete step-by-step guide for your CELPIP test day. You've officially mastered the logistics, so there should be no more surprises. So really, the only question left is, how are you going to master the test itself? Thanks so much for tuning in, and best of luck.